This is the homeschool high school participation bill. You've heard this measure before, though you have to remember it's sometimes called the Tebow bill. And the issue would be we have homeschoolers who are taking the tests that are required by the state of Virginia. They're passing under the homeschooling code. And the issue would be that some of them would like to participate in some of the resources available to the high schools. And I think that there's some misconceptions. I want to address this differently than I have in the past. There are 64 school districts in Virginia that allow homeschoolers to participate in some way at the schools. They're called part-time students. And we've got the list of your counties. Almost everyone on this panel has a county that lets homeschoolers come in, take classes, participate in school play, do various things. I've got the part-time student list from Albemarle County. It shows that they can take classes and do extracurriculars. The one thing that they cannot do is play sports on Friday night. And you're going to hear from somebody that was even allowed to practice. She was allowed to practice with the team. When the time came to compete, she wasn't allowed to because the VHSL rules won't allow it. House Bill 633 would say that you can't join a statewide organization like the VHSL that forbids homeschoolers. It would still allow each locality to make up its own mind. So if your local locality doesn't want homeschoolers to do this, fine, they don't have to. But if some locality would like to have it happen, this bill would let that happen. Madam Chair, I know that there are both proponents and opponents who would like to speak, and that's the bill.
Good morning, Madam Chairman and members of the committee. My home education began as a result of physical illness, which made it necessary for me to leave public school. After I recovered, I sought to rejoin my former public school track and cross country team at Thomasville High School, only to discover that it was not permitted for me to do so. I then contacted other schools in my area, and that rejected me as well. But eventually, Maggie Walker Governor School permitted me to train with them, so long as I did not compete. This went well until I was removed from the team by the Dean of Students as a liability, which led me back to searching for a team with which to train, resulting in Watauga High School. In both instances, I refused to compete to prevent breaking VHSL rules. However, as a competitive runner, ranked second at Watauga and seventh at Maggie Walker, it would have benefited the teams and me had I been allowed to race. It would have given me more exposure. It could have led to an opportunity to run in college. I encourage you to vote in favor of this bill to give other homeschool students opportunity to participate in and enjoy the social benefits of athletics.
Greetings. I am a homeschool mother. My son graduated in May from Virginia Tech, and he graduated on the President's Honor Roll. He was homeschooled because I believe that was the best educational choice for him. He played on a travel team with a public school. He was not allowed to participate on that public school team because he was homeschooled. Every single one of those players got a scholarship, except for my son. Please allow homeschoolers that can participate in sports at the public school level. Thank you.
One of the greatest things about being homeschooled is that it gives us students more room and more time in our day to reach our full potential in ways that most public schoolers can't. Some of us work on artistic abilities and some of us work on music. But if you're like me and spend most of my time with soccer, passing the Tebow bill would not only let us to be trained at a higher skill level than most rec and travel teams can offer, but it would give public schools and their teams a chance to benefit from their skills. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is William Luke Wilson. I'm a senior at Auburn High School in Southwest Virginia. And from my experience in both homeschooling and public schooling, I can say that I support this bill. Through 8th grade, I was homeschooled and taught by my mother. I really enjoyed homeschooling, and I thought that it was the best choice for my education. I was given a really strong moral and academic base in my homeschool years. The more one-on-one type of learning and individualized method of teaching really helped me. I came to Auburn High School so that I could continue my passion to play football. Since then, I have also greatly enjoyed my public school experience. I have been successful through high school, maintaining a 4.0 grade point average, excelling in sports, and taking part in class and club leadership positions in my school. I have made a lot of very close friends that I am very happy to have met. Public school worked well for me, but for some, I believe that there should be a choice on what type of schooling fits other students. On another note, when looking at colleges that I'm applying to, such as the Naval Academy in West Point, Representatives from the academy said that it was a shame that homeschoolers could not demonstrate their leadership potential through sports because of VHSL's exclusion of homeschoolers. I believe that homeschooled kids should be able to play sports in their high school years without being forced into a situation that may not be the best for them. Through experiencing and having success in both, I can say that there are many positive things about both, as well as some negative ones. I support a teenager and their parents' ability to choose the education that best fits them, while still being able to participate and excel in athletics, regardless of that choice. Thank you.
My name is Grace Fisher. I'm 12 years old, and I'm a homeschooler. I hope this bill passes today because I love homeschooling and I love sports, and I hope I can do both. I love homeschooling because everyone can go at their own pace. I have a 7th grade English class I'm taking online, but I also have a much higher grade history course. I love sports too because they're fun and they're good exercise and they're good at team building. I'm going to high school in 2 years, and I hope by that time I will be able to do both.
I'm Tori Boyd. I go to public school.
I'm Abby Wilson, and I'm homeschooled.
We're both from Christiansburg. And in 2012, our softball team qualified to represent the state of Virginia in the World Series.
Because I'm homeschooled, I really need this bill to pass. Next year, my friends will be playing school softball, and if it doesn't pass, I won't be able to play with them anymore.
And we really need her. Without her, we wouldn't be able to have the chance to go to the World Series and represent the state of Virginia. So please help us pass this bill. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Kaylee Newman, and I am from Manassas, Virginia. I am a homeschooled student in 6th grade, and I came here with my family today to ask you to please vote yes in support of the Tebow bill. I have been a gymnast for 6 years. This year, I have reached the top level in my division. The next level for me will be a competitive level if I want to stay with the sport that I love so much. Coaches tell me that I am ready for competition, and in 2 years when I reach high school, I will be forced to stop competing if this bill is not passed. I have 2 years left before I am affected by this current law. I am asking you to vote yes in support of the Tebow bill so I can stay competitive in gymnastics. Passage of the Tebow bill would allow me to continue with this sport I love more than any other. My coaches tell me that I am a talented gymnast with great flexibility and a strong drive. Except that here in Virginia, I can't even try out for the team because laws in my home state of Virginia prevent me from having one chance. 22 other states have said yes to giving homeschooled kids like me a chance to try out. Not one of them is turning back on their decision. If it's working in 22 other states, why is Virginia saying no? I am here today to ask you to give me a chance in Virginia that students in other states have. Please note that I am not asking for a spot on the gymnastics team. I'm only asking for a chance to try out for the team. With your support of this bill today, you will give me and other talented kids in Virginia a chance to try out. Please vote yes in support of the Tebow bill. Thank you for your time. Good morning. My name is Madeline Newman, and I am 11 years old and from Manassas, Virginia. I'm asking you to please vote yes on the Tebow bill so homeschoolers can play in public school sports. I love basketball, but I can only play for 2 more years before I go to high school because I'm not allowed to try out for basketball in public schools. I hope the law is changed by the time I go to high school. Your vote in support of the Tebow bill will give me the chance to keep playing the sport I love. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
My name is William Hart from Floyd, and actually I love high and I love football, and I just want a chance to try out for the football team, and please vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, there's about 30 more seconds left. I just said that there's a number of states, she said 22, actually 29 states that do this. VCU poll said 72% of Virginians would like to find a way, but they just want a chance to try out. They're good kids, and we'd ask you to consider the bill. I understand you'll have some opponents. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, I'm Ken Tilley, Executive Director of the Virginia High School League. I'm here on behalf of the VHSL member schools, and I'm accountable to those 313 member schools. We administer programs on their behalf. Participation in VHSL activities is a privilege, not a right. You earn the opportunity to try out by meeting a common set of eligibility standards, 13 individual requirements for students approved by the school's representative governing body. It is incorrectly alleged that the VHSL is not accountable to anyone. We are accountable to the 313 member schools, to the 132 school boards that authorize their schools to join the VHSL each year. Among the requirements that public school students must meet and homeschool students would not have to meet are the enrollment, bona fide student, and scholarship rules, and that is a concern to our membership. There are opportunities to participate outside the public school setting, and in fact, the Virginia High School Homeschool Athletic Association is opposed to this bill because they already have teams and statewide competition, state championships. I also would like to clarify that the VHSL is not just an athletic association, it's an activities association, which encompasses publications, theater competitions, scholastic bowl, and speech competitions among them. If you rely on the 132 school divisions to set their own rules, then you would have chaos. The school boards, again, do authorize their member schools to join the league and agree to abide by a common set of requirements for the students. We respectfully ask that you vote no to House Bill 6.
Madam Chair,
Senator Carrico?
just found it ironic and would ask Mr. Tilley on the front page of the Richmond Times-Dispatch, you're going to allow transgender athletes to play sports, meaning that I'm going to allow a male to play a female sport as long as they are taking hormones and have a surgery, yet you won't let these kids that are homeschooled play in VSHL sports.
Senator, there is a legal obligation to be responsive to the students who attend the schools, the member schools. We've already had questions and inquiries concerning the eligibility of transgender students. There are 18 states that have regulations and policies in place. We feel that we are being proactive by at least formulating a policy and procedures to address that. We're not saying they are.
So Madam Chair,
Senator Carrico?
so what you're saying is until they sue you, you're not going to try to do anything to accommodate them.
I'm saying nothing of the sort. We are.
That's basically what you said
Senator
about this
Carrico, we're
issue.
going to maintain some order, and you please just bring our voices down.
Well, Madam Chair, I think I earned the right to be on this seat, and I can ask the questions if I need to.
Yes, sir, we want you to answer questions, but I want to maintain a decorum here, okay? We're not going to abuse any speakers who come to speak before us.
Madam Chair,
Senator Martin?
just to follow up on that. What I did hear you say myself was very similar to how it was just represented, so I want to clarify. The fact is, on that front, there have been the legal issues, and you have a legal obligation. It's been challenged. The issues have been raised.
We haven't been challenged legally.
The issues have been raised.
There have been questions as to the eligibility of those students.
And
yes.
finishing the question, and you
Yeah.
feel, and so you therefore feel that you have a duty to address it.
Correct.
Okay, I think that's how you represent it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Was that Senator Smith?
Yes.
Okay, and then were you next?
Madam
Senator
Chair,
White?
it's concerning for me when you just put emphasis on 18 states that allow a position that you approve of, that many of us disagree with. But we heard testimony that 29 states approve of this bill. Now, how do you explain that? Do you recall your emphasis on 18 states?
18 states as of a year ago in a survey that had been conducted by our national organization, and there are other states that are getting on board all the time. Now, the 22 or 29 states that have been represented by the homeschool group, at least 9 of those require enrollment in order to be eligible. So they would not qualify for total eligibility of homeschool students.
Senator Black.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I noticed the emphasis that you placed on the word privilege, that somehow the participation in sports was a privilege. We've got the parents of all of these students paying full freight for the public schools, and I'm not sure how we convert that into a privilege. And particularly if we've got 29 states or whatever it is, why is it not a privilege in those 29 states?
22.
What is it, 22? Okay, whatever it is, we're hearing all kinds of numbers, but it's a lot of states, and apparently is more all the time. Why then do they not consider it to be some sort of a unique privilege reserved only for those people who will avoid homeschooling? I don't understand that.
Go ahead, sir. Respond, and then Senator Howard, and then Senator Saxton.
I think I can answer the question pretty easily, though. That same parents out there who are paying those taxes, you say that earns them the right to do that. Their taxes are also paying for a B-1 bomber, but they don't get to fly it.
There is also the aspect that the parents of students who are enrolled in public schools are paying taxes, and their students may not be eligible because they don't meet the requirements, the eligibility requirements. So they face the same standards.
Follow up, Madam Chairman. Just
Go ahead with your follow-up, and then we're coming back to
clarify
Senator
that.
Howard.
Now, is there any reason why the homeschool student could not simply be asked to meet those same requirements that the public school student is? In other words, you said there are certain things that they have to do. Obviously, you know, we can't make some homeschool student be the quarterback of the football team if he's not qualified to do that. But why can they not just simply match the same standards?
Because they are not enrolled, they are not required to meet 5 subjects. The scholarship rule, they're not a bona fide student. So those are at least 3 major differences that the homeschool student would not meet that the public school students would be required to meet.
Senator Howard.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just want to note that the subject matter we're talking about is whether students who don't attend the public schools can participate in sports. Excuse me. I think the comments about transgender students are totally inappropriate, and that those students do attend the public schools.
Thank you, Senator Howard.
Well, Madam Chair,
Senator Carrico.
I think that we just heard a report last week from the Institute at VCU, and I'm wondering if Mr. Telley has seen that 72% of the people that they surveyed supported those homeschool students to be able to participate in those sports, and those are taxpayers, and you know, maybe some of those homeschool students that graduate from homeschool do fly that B-1 bomber. I just wondered if you've seen that report.
Yes, I've seen the report. We've also asked our own public school students whether they would be agreeable to and would appreciate having homeschool students participate. Their first response is yes, and then we say, but understand that they are not going to be meeting the same requirements that you meet. They say, well, wait a second, that's not fair. We don't want that. So it depends on how you ask the question and what information, I think, in terms of the survey response.
Thank you very much.
Thomas Smith, Superintendent's Association. I want to key in on 3 basic points. We're in opposition to this bill, and we've had long-standing opposition. With regard to your previous discussion, I want to center in on the word enrolled. As a superintendent in Fluvanna County, I allowed homeschoolers to participate as long as they were enrolled. And we provided, and they went under the same rules in terms of they didn't have to be there all day, and curriculum as the other students. Oftentimes, I would get calls from parents saying the coach isn't going to let my child play that night. And when I checked into it, it's because the child had done something that day in school or because their academics weren't up to par. So there's more than just ability that goes in with this. We have no way of governing what happens at homes in terms of behavior, in terms of how the work gets done, in terms of cooperation. So it is a double standard, so to speak. I also would like to make the point that we have another private organization that operates within this state that requires enrollment if you're going to participate in athletics, and that's the NCAA. They do not allow people who may be on an online school to come and play for UVA or Tech or whatever. So this is not that different from what they require in terms of their students to be participating.
Good morning. My name is Meg Gruber. I currently serve as the president of the Virginia Education Association, and I have taught in the state of Virginia in public schools for over 32 years, and I have been a tax-paying resident of Virginia for 36 years. As a public school teacher, I'm definitely representing my members who are opposed to this bill. I think Dr. Smith said it very clearly. The standards have to be the same to have equal and fair competition. The parents have made a choice how they want to educate their child, and part of that choice is knowing that they're not able to participate in high school activities. Second of all, the idea of taxes was brought up. Well, I've paid taxes for 36 years. Unfortunately, the Lord has not blessed me with a child. But that doesn't mean I don't pay my taxes to support public schools and roads and bombers and the military. I'm not asking for a rebate for my taxes because I don't have children in public schools, because I believe in public schools. My mother believed strongly that I needed a parochial education through 1 through 8. But she taught me when I walked down with her that we have an obligation to support our public schools with our taxes, even though I'm paying tuition for you to go to Catholic school. She never once asked for money back for my tuition, and she certainly, when I played community sports, believe it or not, I actually did, she never once said I should be able to compete at a public school. Thank you.
Very briefly, that Neil's secondary school principals, and I would say yes, for our children to participate in these activities is a privilege. It is not a right. They have rules, they have regulations, they play as a community for their school. They believe that when they are there, that they are representing their school. They do represent their school. I would just add one thing. A lot of these children who are very articulate and whose parents have chosen for them to be homeschooled, some of whom you've heard from sound like to me they're really scholarship bound. These are what you might even call, special athletes. A lot of our children are not. They participate. They're not special athletes, but they're special to us, and they've chosen this. They play by the rules. Please protect them. Thank you.
Good morning, Bev Lammy, Henrico County Schools. One of the features or pieces that I'd like to bring to the table this morning that hasn't been mentioned, and that is our school board feels very strongly about this issue of choice. We have parents in our high schools that our students go to specialty centers, but they still want to play sports for their home school with their home kids, their friends, the parents that root them on. Well, VHSL does not allow that, and it's for very good reasons. And so our community supports their rules with this. Our community supports the choices that parents make for their child's education, but we strongly oppose homeschool students playing in a public school setting simply because we feel that sports is an embedded piece of the school's culture, and it isn't like just somebody shows up after school to play a sport. It's all day. The sports teams participate in school activities. They're respected by their other students. It's part of the culture, and we believe that. Thank you very much. We hope you oppose the bill.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Emily Webb with the Virginia School Boards Association. We are in opposition of the bill. We do believe it is a privilege for all students, public school students, to play sports. We want to ensure an equal playing field. There are the academic requirements, the attendance requirements, the discipline requirements that we wouldn't be able to ensure, and for that we do oppose the bill.
morning, Madam Chairman, members of the committee. I'm Geraldine Christensen, representing the Fairfax County Schools, and we remain opposed to this bill. While we certainly respect the parents' right to choose to homeschool their students, we believe that the after-school activities and scholastic activities should remain for those students whose parents choose to send them to public schools. Thank you.
My name is Barry Weinstein with the Fairfax County Federation of Teachers. We agree with our brothers and sisters in the DEA, and we are in support of our school board and their position on this bill. We urge you to vote against the bill. Thank you.
Madam Chair, this is not the first time this bill's been here. We've seen it many times, but it has evolved. And I just want to make sure that I understand. I went to the paper and I said, well, would you be okay if we had an amendment that said if a local school division wants in, they can get in, if they want out, they went out. But I think what you're saying is that the current legislation that came from the House has a provision that says that if Henrico wants out, but Lynchburg wants in, that there's a mechanism to do that. Is that correct?
Madam Chair, from 5 years ago, we added a sentence to address that very issue. It's on lines 30, 29, and 30, and it says the students, if otherwise eligible, shall be subject to all policies governing such participation by the local school board may establish. The issue would be if Henrico and Fairfax and some of the other ones that have stepped up today said they don't want them no matter what, we just don't think it's appropriate, they would not be able to tell that to Flavanna. And Fairfax is obviously it's a big suburban county. There are options for homeschool athletes. Flavanna, there is literally one high school, one game in town on Friday night. And so the thought would be that Mr. Tilley addressed this. He still opposes it, even if it is a local option bill, but it is a local option bill. It also has a sunset. It says after 5 years, if it's not working, we have to reenact it. No state that has done this has gone back and found that the problems actually occurred, but it does have a sunset as well.
Madam Chair, just the last thing I'll add, and I know this bill's unlikely to pass, and I want everyone to know that this committee has not been against homeschoolers. Senator Houck was the chair and others. This committee has been supportive of homeschoolers. The laws of Virginia are strong for homeschoolers, and I think there's a lot appreciated that. This bill also has something called demonstrated progress, which was not in any of the earlier bills. It has a disciplinary requirement, which I've heard from our local school division, and you must be in district, so you have to live in the district so that you can't shop for which team you want to play for. And the last thing is, we've heard about the cost. This has a fee option that you can pick a fee. And I know it won't change anyone's mind out there, but to me, the bill has evolved to the point where it's a question now of do you want a policy to allow them to do it? Because most of the requirement, except for being enrolled, have been addressed, I think, by your bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Bills before us.
Move to report. Second. Substitute motion.
We'll move to the substitute motion.
That bill been passed by the devil.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be PPI. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
No, so say right.
No.
Record your nose. Oh, well, I tell you what, let's call the roll. Madam Clerk.
Senator Sasslaw.
PBI, yes.
Senator Howell.
Yes.
Senator Martin.
No.
Senator Newman.
No.
Senator Edwards.
Yes.
Senator Locke.
Yes.
Senator Barker.
Yes, by proxy.
Senator Miller.
Yes.
Senator Smith.
No.
Senator McWaters.
No.
Senator Black.
No.
Senator Carrico.
No.
Senator Fuller.
Yes.
Senator Favola.
Yes.
Senator Lucas.
Aye.
9 yeas, 6 nays. Sorry.
Madam Chair, thank you.